Good morning, everyone. And I just froze. Okay, there I am. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I almost said Tuesday. You guys know me, Nancy Quinn, business coach and body language trainer to interior designers. And I am here with Kim Vanderpool, my social media strategist of the day, Fresh Impact, where you can join the Get It Done Club and get your social media done on a regular basis, or have Kim and her team do it for you if you're not keeping up. So good morning, Kim. How are you?
Good morning. I am great. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Pretty good morning so far. This is my first thing this morning, believe it or not. It just came to my desk for this live.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you showed up for our live.
Of course, always.
Doing forever. Like someone said, well, what are you doing? And I said, okay, you're in my world and you don't know that I meet with Nancy once a month. I need to do better marketing.
I know. Isn't it funny? People don't know. Even like no matter how much I go live with people, or Leslie, my associate coach, goes live, people still sometimes don't know that the Interior Design Business Forum is the group that I started and run, and that I coach interior designers on their business skills. Like people still don't know that. And I think sometimes it's because they just don't listen that well.
Right. Or on the flip side, is I had someone reach out that found one of our lives that we did a couple years ago on YouTube, and that's why she reached out. So you just never know. You just never know.
Yeah, it's true. You never know. Let me just fix my tech while you tell everybody what we're talking about today.
So it's perfect intro because we are going to talk about how pretty photos aren't enough anymore and the importance of storytelling, especially on the social media platforms.
Storytelling is very hard for people. I actually just wrote a blog and included the fact that storytelling is one of the best ways to market yourself. So I can't wait to hear your tips on how to do it on social media properly.
Yes. And so we know that beautiful work matters, but beautiful work alone won't create that connection that we need to create with someone that's scrolling through the feed. And so what we want to do, especially with storytelling, is that clients will hire designers that they know, like, and trust. It seems like we've been talking that same message for the last how many years? It's know, liking, and trusting. And storytelling is what turns people and helps them to build that know, like, and trust. So they can turn followers into inquiries and projects into emotional connections and content that builds that trust.
And so the key to storytelling is what, in your eyes?
In my eyes, is that we want to, instead of saying when someone posts, here's a kitchen reveal. There's so many times I'll say, here's the kitchen reveal, or here's this. People want to know, this client wanted a kitchen that finally felt calm enough for family dinners again. So they can see themselves into that design that you created. And so the best stories really are about transformation. So people think that a lot of times they'll say, well, they focus on the furniture, the styling, or the accessories. But people really want to know is what's the problem, the frustration, the solution, and the outcome. And so when you can use that formula to build your content and ask yourself, you have this beautiful design project photo that you've done. Ask them, what was the problem that the client came to, or their frustration? And then how did you provide the solution? And then how did the client feel after you were done with your project?
So people think that's a lot to say in, let's say, a quick reel or a story or a post, but it's really not if you just give the highlights.
The highlights. And people aren't afraid to read words if you have a compelling story. I just had this happen yesterday as I wrote a Substack on how grandma deleted the app. I had an app. I got sucked into the games thanks to my grandson. And so I wrote a Substack and I had someone message me and they said, I never read a complete story, but you brought me in and I read the whole thing.
Oh, what a nice compliment that is.
It was kind of funny too, because how many grandmas admit that they spent 6 hours on one day playing a game on the phone? So.
I've been known to do that on my days off for sure.
Yes.
And then like I do like you, like I can't play this game anymore. It's such a waste of my time.
Yep. And so I ended up deleting, and I told a funny story on Substack about that. So if you want, you can go read it. It was kind of hilarious. But this
I
friend,
just actually wrote it down. I want to go read your Substack because I think it's hysterical and it's
yes,
true.
this friend, she says, and she doesn't read. I mean, she listens to audiobooks, so she does not spend a lot of time reading, but she read the whole story because it was compelling. So if you make the story compelling, it'll work. What we have nowadays is a beautiful tool that people either love or hate, but you have AI and you have ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you use that you can actually just put in and say, I have this story, I have the problem, this is what we did, this is the solution, and this is how the client felt. Help me write a 4-sentence story with this. Or they can give it, it will help you concise, and then you can change the words to make it sound more like you if you haven't trained your AI to sound like you.
Exactly.
So,
I love it.
yeah, we have lots of tools, but people really want to know, like, the project really wasn't about the furniture. It was about creating a home that felt peaceful again. Or, one of the things that we talk a lot about in club is that how many people don't have hot spots in their kitchen? And how many designers don't naturally figure out how to make that kitchen functional without maybe not doing a really expensive overhaul, but just little pockets of things that you could do differently? That's what people want to know. Like
That's how you solve the problem that they have. If you can
correct.
hit that emotional trigger in that story for whoever is starting to read it, you'll capture them and then they'll think of you when they need someone
Right.
like you.
You're building that trust and people can identify themselves with that problem. But on the opposite side is that think about using ChatGPT
Oh,
to write your caption. My reader doesn't need, like, for a social media specialist, you don't need to know that I'm using ChatGPT. You just want to know that that story sounds like you and that story sounds good.
and it's real. We're not saying make up fake stories. We're
Right.
saying
It's
it's a real
real. It's
story.
your, yes. But you don't need to know the how to's. Where some designers get stuck is they want to give you all those little details that's what the client is hiring you for. They don't want to know necessarily every little detail. Well, I went to Home Depot and I bought this, and you know what I mean? That it's too detailed. So that's where the AI tools will be really helpful if you come in and say, I want a thoughtful, conversational, real story. This is what happened. These are the pain points, and this is how my client felt. And if you have your client's words that, like, they text and say, "This is amazing, I love it," and throw that in there, it's even more genuine and real. But stories,
Absolutely. And my brain is going nuts with how many things we teach our academy students, how they could turn what we're teaching them into the stories that they could use on social media. I mean, it's amazing. You could talk into your AI and tell the story, and then it will do what you need it to do to summarize.
correct. Because when we're using stories, we're building trust before that inquiry. So people, when they'll follow you, that builds that trust before they'll even reach out. Then what happens is they're more confident when they do contact you because they have already built that trust. And so when you come to them and say, if we'll just use design, for example, they're thinking it's going to cost them $20,000 for a kitchen design upgrade. And you come back and you say, well, really, it's going to cost you 40,000. If they don't have that trust involved with you because they've already built that through their storytelling and how you present yourself, they're going to, ooh, but if they've already trusted you and they know you through your storytelling and they know how you represent yourself on the online space, whether it's through social or your website or what other tools you're using, then they're going to trust that number a little bit easier than.
It's so true. It really is. It's so true that they trust you some people will be online and trust you based on the knowledge you've shared, your expertise, your professionalism, the way you communicate. So when they get on your calendar to talk to you, they're already sold and they already trust you. If you're not telling stories about other clients, how you've worked them through their obstacles and their challenges in their homes, they may doubt everything you say for longer than having had that experience with you online.
Correct. And so if you have a before and after, we have a client that does this beautifully, is she has before and after. She doesn't have videos, but she had pictures she had taken. So we were able to put the pictures together in a video, and then we have her doing just a quick little voiceover, and we put her face in the corner of the video talking. This is what the client had going on. this is what we offered, and this was the final result. 30-second video. It's beautiful. It builds trust. We actually used it for an ad that was able to drive more people to her website,
Nice.
and more inquiries. And so using that storytelling, so we don't necessarily think you need to post more. We just want you to tell better stories. And if you need help with that, you can use the tools, you can reach out. There's lots of resources in learning how to tell better stories. One thing I wanted to quick say about stories is that we have a local realtor here who did an amazing video that I think would work really good for interior designers, because it's not so necessarily like we want to see the pretty projects you do. We want to see your skills and your education. But she did a video that said, I'm more than a realtor. And then she showed pictures of, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a volunteer. And she showed different pictures of her doing things in her active life. That would be perfect. Interior designers tend to think that it's always like, I don't have any project photos. You don't necessarily need all these project photos. That is a beautiful storytelling video that she reminded people that she has a life besides just being a realtor. Like, she also has all these other things. So it did multiple things, but it's like, oh, a designer, that would be perfect. So if anybody wants to see that realtor's Instagram, message me and I'll send it to you, because she does an amazing job in storytelling.
I think that's a great idea. And yeah, someone said to me recently, like, even 6 months ago, a year ago, I used to post so much more about what's, the things I do outside of work. And I have just not done that in a while. I just haven't been posting. So, but that really helps people know, like, and trust you. And I know, like you say, everyone's sick of hearing that, but that is the name of the social media exposure game. It's getting people to sort of know who you are and be confident enough to get on your calendar and have that first conversation with you. And then hopefully move forward with a service model because they trust you.
Correct. And right now we are working against a lot of the AI posting and a lot of the graphics. Yesterday I was going through Facebook and it was like, I would bet 4 out of every 5 posts was an AI generated graphic. And it was like, okay, but if I saw you or a designer or somebody else do an actual video, I'm going to stop and look, because you're going to stand out.
Because it's a real person.
It's a real person. You're going to stand out. And that's what people want to see. And so don't let perfectionism stop you from storytelling, because storytelling does work.
It works. And put yourself in it, put your personality stamp on it, put your brand on it, because that's what people want to see. Everything being generated through AI is getting boring already to people.
Right. And if you're stuck on what to do for a story, you could take a post that you posted last week, take the copy that you wrote, and you could even put it into Claude or ChatGPT or whatever you use and say, can you help me change this caption to a story? So that way you can start to understand how to write the stories. And then once you start learning how to do that, it'll be easier for you just to write it without using AI. But that can sometimes help you learn how to restructure what you've already said into a storytelling way.
And you can join the Get It Done Club through Kim's Fresh Impact, so that you can learn all these little tips and tricks and nuances that make a big difference in how your content on social media is perceived and received.
And it's simpler, so you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours on your marketing. You can spend 1 hour a week and be done for the week.
I know. I even say, after your third time, go once a week. I always tell my clients to go to, they're all in the club, and go once, twice, 3 times. Now try to plan out 2 weeks at a time.
Correct.
This way you eventually can go once a month, plan out, and then just attend all the special trainings that you give to keep learning the little nuances. Because I think those extra trainings you do for the Get It Done Club are huge in gaining knowledge and keeping up with the technology and the changes. I mean, it's moving so fast at this point.
It is. And what do we need to know? That's what I told someone the other day. It's like, I don't need to know that. Can you just give me the highlights so that I can implement it? And that's what we try to do, is like, you don't necessarily need to know how to do all of it.
Everything.
What do you need to know so that you can make your marketing work for you?
Okay, everybody, go head over to Fresh Impact. Give the full website properly.
It's freshimpactllc.com, and then there's a button there for the Get It Done Club.
Okay. And are they able to chat with you if they're not unsure about anything?
Sure. They can message me. We can set up a time and I can answer any questions.
Perfect. Okay. Did we miss anything or did we give all the
Yeah, I
information?
think we kind of covered it, just the importance of storytelling. So if you don't feel like your social media is going anywhere, take a look and see, am I actually doing any storytelling? Are the captions resonating with my potential clients?
I'm going to go take a look at mine because I haven't been storytelling as much as I used to. And I think I can improve too. That's what I love about these lives. There's always something we can all improve on. So thank you, Kim. I appreciate your time.
You bet. Thank you so much for having me.